Hello, and welcome to another edition of Straight Talk with Don Chioffi. This is Straight Talk, and we're doing a program today for the upcoming March election, which takes place on March 4th. Don't forget to get out and vote. This afternoon or this morning, whichever you choose to tune in to, my guest is Henry Heck, and Henry is currently serving alderman and has been city clerk for how many years, Henry?
I served for 14 and a half years, Don.
14 and a half year city clerk, and he's running for mayor of Rutland. Welcome, Henry, to
Thank
the program.
You, Thank you very much for having me.
Here, and
I appreciate
we
that.
hope to have a scintillating conversation here today. We'll hit some of the high issues, and what I'd like to do is give Henry an opportunity to make an opening statement, and then we'll go from there. You're on, Henry.
I appreciate that. So, thank you. So, yeah, I'm currently running for the mayor, city of Rutland mayor, and basically looking at some of the hot issues out there, crime and taxable affordability within the city and stuff are all been issues that we've been talking about. But really, I think one of the number one dynamics here is as Don mentioned, opening up, is just getting people out to vote. Half of my campaign, whether you see my campaign materials, you see those promises and stuff, it's an extremely important election. People seem to, be concerned with what's going on in their community, and if you really want to change and you want to be heard, you need to get out and vote Tuesday, March 4th.
Thank you, Henry. In small-town politics, we have a unique opportunity here in Vermont, and especially at PEG TV, and I'd like to thank PEG TV for offering these kinds of forums for our citizens. In larger cities, it's really difficult. You have to have large audience participation in order to get your message out. In small-town, rural communities like Rutland, comparatively, it's a unique opportunity to sit here as I am interviewing a mayoral candidate, and I've had Mike Dunges on the program before, and of course he's welcome to come on. We're an equal opportunity campaign basher or whatever, if you want to call it that. But what I'd like to do is ask Henry to give us a profile of a day in the life of candidate Henry Heck. So if you wanted to go through a daily occurrence, whether it's today or yesterday or whenever, I think that would be nice as to how you meet and greet with the people.
Yeah, and something, it's overwhelming. I had a great job. I was working at Key Honda. I was in sales management, 11, 12 hours a day. Good paying job, Don, very good paying job. And I knew that I wasn't going to have enough time to fulfill my obligations, with Honda and also campaign the way that I should, to get out there and meet the public. So right off, up at 6 a.m., looking at mail, checking things out and stuff. It has been one of those things that as time gone along, it was a 12-hour gig that's turned into a 15-hour gig that's now an 18-hour gig as far as that goes. And the weather, it's very tough campaigning in March in Vermont. The yard signs out there, I have 300 that are out there, and just taking care of those and doing the things that you have to do is a big commitment. Meeting with people, setting up all the things you need to, your mass mailers, your radio, all those kind of things, getting out into the public and just talking with people, expressing your ideas, listening to them, finding out what their real concerns are, what they would like for their community and how they would like some of those changes to be made and stuff. So it's a commitment, and it's been a huge commitment, but it's one that I've been absolutely delighted to get out and participate. The support from the community has been fantastic. Coming out of the post office the other day, 8 a.m., a woman goes, "Henry, I'm going to vote for you." And I turned and I have no idea. And I met this woman, asked her name, and we chatted for a little bit. But those have been some of the highlights, of all the stuff going on is getting that support, gathering that support. But long days, a lot of stuff involved in those days, but completely committed. I have some phenomenal supporters out there that have really backed me, 100%. And it's 2 weeks. 2 weeks from today, Don, we'll be at the polls. Really looking forward to getting out there and seeing how people are going to respond. But it's been one of the privileges of my life, as far as that goes, is taking on this venture.
Well, there's no secret, Henry, that anyone that serves as a town clerk or a city clerk in any of the municipalities in the state of Vermont has got to be a people person. You can't do that job unless you're a people person. And maybe you could give us a little bit of a profile as to some of the major challenges or the major accomplishments or just the day-to-day operations, because you deal with thousands of taxpayers, citizens. You also deal with the board of aldermen. I mean, you're there to kind of, keep them straight, negotiate the policies and procedures of the board and so forth, and answer questions that they may have. And that's a lot of years to do that. So for a candidate coming in to the mayorship who hasn't had that kind of experience, there's just so many hundreds and hundreds of things that come across the aldermanic desks that involve the proper operation of the city of Rutland that you know about as clerk. So
yeah.
What do you think?
So, as clerk, one of the things that I absolutely love was that distribution of information. So the clerk's office in a lot of the smaller things is like the one-stop shop. You got a tax appeal, you got a tax abatement, you got a dog license, you got a election type of question. There's a feud with a fence, some of those things. So you really can get pulled in, many kind of different directions. But for me, it really laid the foundation. Under my first administration, when Chris Loris appointed me clerk, I had an opportunity for 8 years plus to basically learn the functions of clerks. And we had some tremendous clerks within our county that I was able to utilize. Lucretia Wanzer out of Killington, Donna Kinville up in South Burlington, folks in Berry City, as far as that goes, Pulteney, just learning the aspects of the dynamics. Under the Allaire administration, I really had the opportunity to fine-tune those people skills, really understand the dynamics of the administration, working with department heads, getting involved in the budget process. So not only were, elections, but, when COVID came, it really did change the dynamics. And, Mayor Allaire had bad cancer. I mean, David was pretty sick during that whole process. So it allowed me to, work with those department heads and do some of the things, because I had been there for so long. People just kind of, came to me, bounce off, ideas, what we need to do or things that we needed to work on and stuff. So that administrative type thing, leadership type thing within those four walls, I'm very accustomed. Know pretty much every department head down there, how those things work and stuff. But it is a people business, Don. And I absolutely love people. I love to help people and to make sure that they're getting the information that they need to make the best decisions that they have to have.
Well, it's interesting that you bring that up, because I hadn't realized, and I don't know if the people realized that David did have quite a massive challenge ahead of him recouping, and I'm happy for him that he beat it. At least he beat it to this point, and
Yep.
That's a good thing. It was touch and go there for quite a while, and I don't know, as people wondered who picks up the slack. I mean, we don't have what's called a strong mayor system. We've got a weak mayor system, but still, there's a lot of functions in the mayor's office that had to be done by somebody, and somebody has to pick up that slack. And it's interesting. This is the first time I'm hearing this, but people run for office, and it's a lot of times it's personality, and people sometimes criticize that. But let's face it, a person's personality is that's their trait. That's how they meet people. That's First impressions are lasting impressions.
Sure.
But you have to have a vision, and you have to have a vision of what you would do better. I mean, there's got to be a reason, especially in a challenge campaign, there's got to be a reason why you would do something better than the present occupant of that office. So if you could give us your visionary look at Rutland,
Yep.
I think that would be helpful.
Yep. So I look at it from the sense that when I got out and spoke with the public, understanding some of the challenges that they were facing. Again, COVID really changed the dynamics. At one point, our homeless population was so significant and created issues. Public safety is a piece that we're always working on. What happened with the police force not being able to staff it to get those numbers up. The taxation, double-digit increases in regards to what people are paying for their bills, affordability. Vermont is become an extremely, very expensive state to live in. Just the dynamics over the last 5 years with COVID is really seen a tremendous change. And so when I really started to delve into this and what was going on, there's always, I think, jobs. We talk about housing availability and those kind of things. And I really equate it to what's the number one thing? You hear about the hospital. They may have a lot of opportunity for people to come. So people come here and then they find out, well, there's not a lot of housing, and what housing they are, finding is 400, 500, 600,000, 700,000 for a home. They can find a job, 2-3 hours from here where that same house may be $300,000 and they're still getting paid the same amount of money. So it's very difficult to narrow it down. And I think we take it all one step. If we have a business that wants to come in, we welcome them. We do what we can to help with that process. If some developer wants to come in and develop houses, and we're able to help them with some permitting things or water type things, then we look at that. But at this point in time, we want to welcome as much opportunity as we can, while we're also making sure that we're taking care of our taxpayers' base. And I think there's a lot of things out there that the pension has created, an obstacle that we're needing to subsidize, that the treasurer's always, talked about those kind of things and what we're now needing to pay in order to do that. That's a significant amount of money to catch up to where we need to be. That could be utilized some other place, but unfortunately we can't because of what is happening. So the dynamics about all of this is you can attack it from multiple standpoints: the economy piece, the public safety piece, the housing piece, the homeless piece, all coming into play. And I think, as I did, in my clerk's world, we take, one issue at a time. We work our way through that, get ourselves on the right path, and then we move on to the next thing. But the accountability piece, excuse me, just have gotten over a cold here a little bit.
'Tis the season.
Is to look at the taxpayers, and I think what we have today for a tax bill, we need to look even further down the road. What some of these benefits will be.
Do you see some similarities between what's happening nationally? Should we try a little bit of Doge here as well as all the other things? I mean, people are finding out things that they never knew before about where money can be saved. And I'm not talking about making massive cuts in personnel or whatever. We know this issue has come up. I've watched it develop, and I'm sure you're right next to it with the union thing. But nationally, it was union bosses that were taking one position, and as it turned out, there were a lot of union members that didn't have that feeling, and they didn't really speak for the membership.
Right.
And I'm sure you've got friends that are, a lot of friends and people that you've worked with over 14 years. I don't know about anybody else, but I never heard of any complaints with unions and you over those 14 years. So.
Yeah. It's, it is one of those things. I want to delve on, the recent things. When I first got involved, there was, issues, when you have union members, and Worked very well with the unions. I've always worked well with the unions in support of their things, trying to make sure that we're all on the same page and stuff like that. But, as you stated, Don, I think that it's true. The endorsements have come out. All the unions are endorsing, Mayor Dunges as far as that goes, and that's great. In that capacity, would I have taken her support? Absolutely. But I know, as you state, there's folks that are within those organizations, they have to go and get their ballot and they have to fill it out. The union's not doing that for them. Those representatives are. And I've worked well with, the fire department. There are union people. I don't think to hire Archie, the chief, the deputy chiefs, those kind of things. I think it was the same thing with the police department, maybe the sergeants and corporals. I'm not sure the dynamics of that have changed over where, not everyone's exactly in the unions, but, their union representation. But people can get out and vote for whoever they choose. And if they want to, choose to vote for me because they think I'm the better candidate, they're going to absolutely have that right. So, yeah, it's nice to have would have been nice to have the endorsement, but I think I feel very comfortable with the folks that are out there and the relationships I have built over those, basically I was, an alderman 3 years prior to being city clerk. So I have 18 and a half years of working within the city environment, and I know a lot of those people, and I know they support me as well too.
Right. Well, I suppose when it comes to personnel actions, and if you're scrutinizing personnel and you're trying to do cost savings, you don't do it with the present membership. You do it by attrition methods. Maybe you can do it with a little bit less here. Maybe you can do it a little bit less here. That works. And when it comes to the actual dollar amount of taxation, with all due transparency here, I mean, I've served in the town of Rutland in leadership capacities, and I've worked strongly for the town of Rutland. We've always tried to have as good a relationship as we can, and I don't think it's ever been better than what it is now. I think things are going fairly smoothly, but then, with the announcement that the Walmart was going to move, I mean, that certainly does put a little crunch on the city of Rutland in terms of taxation. So what's your views on the redevelopment of that property?
Yeah, so, within dynamics of the city itself, when I ran a year ago as an alderman, I made the thing, maybe the town and the city should look at maybe joining up and stuff again. I'm still one of those guys that thinks that at the end of the day, Don, there could be, something there. So I think about that. But with Walmart specifically, yeah, the 1%, we're going to get hurt there. If we can bring another development in, a retail development, it may not do the numbers that Walmart did, but it's going to suffice. And maybe we have to bring in two pieces. It's a pretty big piece of property down there, so we look at those things. But I support Walmart making that move to go to the town, and by support, it's not that I wanted to see it leave downtown Rutland, but what they're going to bring to the town, the development, and I don't know the complete structure, if it's going to have, like an auto place and a grocery store place and a super Walmart. But I think anything within our county that we're bringing, the potential of more jobs, a place for people to go to and stuff, that development piece is going to be good. Whether it's in the town, it's in the city, it's in West Rutland, Proctor, Mendon, Chittenden, the towns around us. We're all gonna see a benefit to that. Killington Mountain, with what's happening up there, those people are going to look. I mean, we would love to have a movie theater again. I think it's one of those things that, we absolutely need, and I think that would be very well supported. A lot of people, will travel to Middlebury, they'll go to Glens Falls, they can go down to Springfield. I mean, we're a city, and we don't have a movie theater. We need to have places for, the families to go and people to have entertainment and stuff, and people from the mountain would utilize that and come into Rutland. So There are options that'll be available out there for that development piece, and we're going to look at all those things and do what's best for, the community and for the city.
Well, I don't speak for Rutland Town, but I do maintain pretty close contact with those that do. And we've always supported, Rutland Town has always supported any development, positive development in Rutland City. We've never opposed any developments at the Act 250 process, even though we're an adjoining community. And as we all know from past experience, adjoining communities have party status at the 250 hearings. I'm assuming that, and you correct me if I'm wrong, I'm assuming that you are not a proponent of using the Act 250 process to either stifle that development of Walmart in the town or put egregious fees on that kind of a development, because that's kind of, I've always viewed that as a very counterproductive thing.
Yeah.
So,
No, and again, I would, reiterate that, if I was mayor or if I'm not mayor and I'm a regular citizen here, I would support the development in Rutland Town. I think it's a huge piece of property that's out there that needs to be developed. Taking something from downtown and stuff, we've seen stores come and go in that capacity. So there's going to be options out there. Be excited to see what those options may be and to work with community partners, the town, if necessary, whatever it may be, to try and get that filled. Because if we can all work together and make sure that all of our storefronts are full, make sure that we're trying to bring better jobs, better paying jobs to our areas and stuff like that, to help work together, on crime situations, whether it's, there's intermunicipal workings with the fire departments, there's common aid that we use and stuff. So I think our relationships are good, and we want to continually build on that. And whatever's good for the city is good for the town, and vice versa, as far as that goes.
I agree wholeheartedly. Now, the big controversial issue, well, one of them is in transportation. There's a myriad of facets to this whole road diet thing. I never liked the term road diet anyway. I mean, we build the roads for cars. We used to build them for cars. And so now we're building them for bicycles. I don't know how many bicycles there are on Woodstock Avenue. I haven't seen too many, especially in the wintertime. I haven't seen any. But in this particular issue, do you feel that the voters themselves should have some direct input to this process?
It was very interesting, and one of the reasons that I really got involved in this was because of the road diet. In regards, there was a lot of people, especially on Woodstock Avenue, that felt that they weren't heard or didn't have an opportunity. I have gone out and visited with these folks to see how the effect is going on. There's supposedly data being collected, so we can look at those numbers. It's still not perfect in that capacity. There's some areas there that I still feel that could be fairly dangerous. I'm not a big supporter of the Deer Street turn off there by Beauchamp and O'Rourke's not being able to make a left-hand turn, and we have a lot of our elderly folks that utilize that center, and it makes me very leery of what could potentially happen there. But the road diet itself, and I think it was one of those things that people felt or feel like they haven't been supported. They didn't get to voice their big concerns and stuff. It was just pushed through. You know how the dynamic works. Every 10 years, state comes through, their responsibility. They at least allow the city they'll branch off some ideas. As you know, 10 years prior, it was tried. It was voted down. It was actually Jeff Wenberg, the DPW commissioner, was the deciding vote. 3 people make the decision on that project.
Only one of whom is elected.
The mayor, correct, and then the board president, and then an appointed position for the department head. But you're correct, Don. That is it's the only person, the elected position is the mayor. And a lot of people felt that those three people shouldn't be able to make that decision for literally 16,000 people that are out there and stuff. So, but it created a lot of controversy. Some folks are still upset about it. Some folks are getting used to it, but it's still kind of a work in progress, I think, to get it to where it needs to be.
Well, that's an interesting proposition for sure. I guess the most controversial part of it is the fact that basically one person was the swing vote in that whole decision making, and that happened twice. So
And both times it's funny because the DPW commissioner has voted no both times.
Both times. And
Both
who has
times.
the most experience with roads?
Well, it's an interesting question. I think that's why they were given the job. But that's that water's crossed that bridge, and we're at where we're at right now.
Well, we're crunching down time, Henry. Half an hour flies by. What do they say? Time flies when you're having a good time.
Sure.
And you got a full campaign left for a couple weeks. I'm sure you're going to be hitting the pavement. Want to give us some closing remarks?
Yeah, I would love to. I really appreciate the opportunity. What I've experienced over the last 4, 5, 6 weeks has been absolutely tremendous. I'm a local guy. I was born and raised here. My wife and I have been married 37 years. We have 2 kids. One, lives out of state. One just came back home. Affordability piece, living out west and stuff. But I'm very committed to this process. I'm very committed to doing the same kind of job that I did when I was your city clerk, which was to listen, take the situation, figure out the problem, get you the information to solve that problem or help you solve that problem. This is all I'm really looking forward to do is to continue to help my community to move forward, help the people that are really in charge, the public safety people, to do the jobs and have the tools that they need. But the number one thing is I hear the people. The affordability is a huge piece, and I will do everything in my power to make sure that taxes aren't going to go up, or we're not going to have unnecessary things out there, for additional bonds and those kind of things. We have enough things working right now. We need to just take some time and hold down cost.
Do you have methods where people can reach you personally up to the election time?
Yeah, so, within the dynamics under the Rutland City, because I'm an alderman and stuff, under appointed elected officials, there's contact information there. Email address, aldermanheck4you@gmail.com. My phone numbers are listed there. I'm old school. I still have a landline. That's a number that's out there. I prefer my cell phone because it's more direct. And then, reaching out to me, and if people want to know more about me or more about what's going on with my campaign, they can always. I'd be happy to, meet with them. I have my little campaign headquarters. I'm trying to get more involved with downtown and stuff, just to be able to put some time out there to meet with people, which I've done a couple times. But yeah, I'm always willing to get out and meet folks that have questions.
Great. Thank you, Henry. And we're wrapping up here, and I just want to encourage all of you who may be listening to this program to not only get out and vote yourself, but contact your friends and neighbors. Bring somebody with you. One of the saddest parts of democracy is seeing how few people exercise their right that, well, I'm just one veteran, but a lot of us fought for that right, for you to have that right. Whether you agree with Henry or whether you agree with Mike or any other candidate, you really have an obligation. If you want to complain about anything, you've got to take the opportunity to do the one thing that you have in your power, and it's a very, very strong power that you have. That's your vote. When you think of the countries there are in this world that don't have that right and that power, you should exercise it. Make sure you get out and vote. Tuesday, March 4th, no matter what the weather, Henry will be there. Mike will be there. Other people that want to serve you will be there. You should be there as well. Thank you, Henry. It's been a pleasure.
You as well, Don.
Good luck in the rest of your campaign.
I
And
appreciate that. Thank you.
thanks for joining us.
Alrighty. Thanks for having me.